Hey everyone, hopefully you can all hear me okay. If not, just jump onto the chat box and let me know. Um, Welcome and thanks so much for joining our webinar today, where I'm going to go through one of Anow's latest features, auto-incrementing file numbers. My name's Krista, and I'm part of the customer success team here at Anow. So before we get into things, I will let you know that you can submit text questions by typing your questions into the chat box. And you can submit your questions at any time during the webinar. I'll collect them and I'll address them at the end of today's webinar. You can also submit any questions after this webinar by sending an email to support@anow.com. One last thing I will quickly mention is that a recorded version of this webinar will be available. We'll get that sent out in the next couple of days, so watch for that. So you may already know this, but here at Anow, we love getting feedback and suggestions from our users. And that's actually how this feature came about. Having auto-incremented file numbers was a popular request among our user group, and the amazing development team here at Anow actually made it happen. So with that being said, let's get right to the good stuff and jump into how exactly this feature works. So to set up your custom file number, you'll want to head to your company profile, just under your initials on the right-hand side there. And the really great thing about this feature is that you can actually make your file numbers as custom as you want. And you can see how that's possible here. So right away, we can see actually the last file number that was used. Below that, we have a set of instructions. Again, just goes through exactly how this feature works. And then of course to the right, well, that's where we can actually set the custom file number itself. So you'll see a prefix, a next number field, a suffix, and then the interval field. So the prefix is what you want your file numbers to start with. This can be letters or numbers. If you don't want to add a prefix, that's okay. You can simply leave this field blank. Then we have the next number field. So this is the number of your file. This is the number that's going to automatically increase based on the interval that you decide to use. Suffix, well, what do you want your file numbers to end in? Again, this can be letters or numbers, and if you don't need or want a suffix, you can simply leave this field blank as well. And then of course the interval just determines what the file numbers will be incremented by. Most commonly that's 1, but you can certainly use anything you'd like, 2, 3, 20, whatever works for you. So once you've set up your custom file number, you'll see a preview of what it looks like just below here. In this case, we have our file number set to JS-101-2016. Our interval is set to 1, so our next order added will be JS-101-2016, JS-102-2016, etc. And once we have our custom file number set up, we're happy with it, all we have to do is click Save. And again, these file numbers can be as customized as you want, and I really want to reinforce that. So if I no longer decide that, I don't want a prefix anymore. I don't want my file numbers to start with JS. I just want them to be file number and year. No problem. I can simply just remove the prefix here. So now my file numbers will be 101, 2016, 102, 2016. And same thing goes for the suffix. Maybe I don't want to use the suffix field. Maybe I just want the year. Just 16 as in 2016, then the number, no suffix. Again, I can certainly do that here. We'll remove the suffix and we'll add in 16 dash. Now my file numbers are 16-101, 16-102. And another thing that I do want to note is you still have the ability to edit these file numbers when you add a new order or even within the appraisal details itself. So even though you have your custom file number set up within your profile, you can still edit it if you need to. So we actually have a couple of really good questions and examples coming through our chat here that I want to jump into. So the first one being, our file numbers are 16-001. 16 being the year, 001 being our file number. Is there any way to add a selection of 001002? Yes, definitely. So here's what that would look like. Next to 16-00, our next number will be 1. We don't need a suffix, and our interval will be 1. So now our file numbers are 16-001, 16-002. So once you hit 10 orders, you can actually quickly jump back into the settings, remove one of the zeros from the prefix here, and set your next number to 10. Then you don't have to touch this again until you hit 100 orders. So that was a great example and a great question. Thank you very much for submitting that. The next one here, also a really great question. Here it is. So we begin our file numbers with letters. T for trust, L for loan, depending on the job. Then the year 16, then the actual number itself. So for example, T16-100 or L16-100. What's the best way to handle this? Great question, and there's actually a couple of different ways to handle this. So first one being, you can set the prefix to start with the most common order letter, if that makes sense. So maybe a majority of your orders are trust orders. Start the prefix with T. So here's what that would look like. T16-100, no suffix. Our interval is 1. And again, you have the ability to edit your file number when you add a new appraisal or within the details. So, your prefix will automatically start with T16 dash. Oh, I missed the dash. Here we go. But you can certainly come in here and edit, change it to an L for loan or whatever the case may be. So that's one option. The other option is to actually leave the letter out completely and just simply add it in when adding the order itself or within the details itself. So we'll set our prefix to just 16 dash, then 100, no suffix, and then an interval of 1. So basically all we need to do is add in the letter itself when we add a new order or from within the details page as well. So those were some really great examples and questions. Thank you so much for sending those in. I do hope that this helps everybody to have a better understanding of how exactly this feature works. To close things off though, let's take a look at how the file numbers work when we add a new appraisal order. So let's put our file numbers back to, we'll do JS dash. We'll do 101 will be our next one. And then we'll do 2016. Interval of 1, and we're going to save that. So let's jump into actually the new appraisal page here, just again to see exactly how this works. So we're going to scroll down to the file number field here. So right away we can see, well, there's our custom file number. It's already pre-filled. JS-101 2016. Here's the last file number that we used. We also do have the ability, if we click this, set this here, this will take us right back to our company profile where, again, we can set up a new custom number if we'd like. So just to kind of see how this works, let's just quickly put in an address here. We'll quickly just add a property. And then I'm going to add one more just so you can kind of see how this incrementation works. So we'll add this property, so JS-101 2016. And then let's go back down here to the file number itself. So it automatically incremented again, so JS-102 2016. So again, you can completely customize this file number, use these fields however you'd like to. It's just going to make things easier on you in the long run. So it doesn't right now look like, we have any other questions here. So I guess with that being said, you guys are certainly off the hook. That's it for this webinar. Again, thank you so much for attending. If you do have any other questions or if you think of some after this webinar has ended, please feel free to give us a call or even send us an email, support@anow.com. Thanks again, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.